Hello, everybody. This is Alan Fine. I'm here with Rudi Sodamin, who's the master chef for Holland America Lines, and we are on Rotterdam. It's the new Rotterdam, but it's not new. It's NEW new, right? And we're going to talk about all things culinary on Insider Travel Report. Rudi, thank you for talking to us.
Pleasure to have you here.
My first question. When you were a kid, did you play with your food?
Yes, I was not allowed to play.
And your parents were like, what are you doing? And you said, I'm going to make a career of this.
Yeah, well, I wish I would have known at that time. But always, as kids, we are playful, right?
Right.
We kids in the sandbox, but I wasn't ever allowed to play with the food. It was, but anyway, as we grow up...
What a great thing it caused.
yeah. But anyway, it's a pleasure to work with food.
Yeah.
It's an art form. It's pleasure.
So you played with your food as a kid, and then at what point did you cook for people? When did you start cooking for people? Was it your own family?
Yeah, I'm a family of 11. We are 11 children. I'm a triplet.
Austria?
In Austria. My father was from Italy. My mother from Austria, Lamur came together on the borders at that time. Anyway, so my mother was a chef, and I grew up in the kitchen and was a chef. With 14 years, I was sent to apprenticeship.
Wait, so you left the house already? I thought you were still with your family.
No, I was still with my family there, yeah, sure.
One thing at a time. Yeah. So you cooked for your family. You helped your mom. Who was the cook, your mom or your dad?
My mom.
You learned a lot from her?
Yeah, my papa died when I was 9 years, so I was cooking at this time.
She needed help?
Yeah, we were helping together. It's a big family. We were helping together to meet the mid's end at that time. Mm-hmm. And she always said, you need to be a chef, Rudi, because you never will be hungry. And she was right.
Wow, so you listened to your mom.
Yeah.
Like a good boy.
Yeah.
All right, so then your first professional job was where?
Actually, I graduated in Austria and left with 18 years to Paris, to France, to La Serre, which was a 3-star restaurant. And then I left to Geneva, to Genf.
Genoa, yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to Seattle, in fact, to the Olympic Hotel. So
did you always learn on the job, or did you actually get some training?
Yeah, that's a good point. As a chef, you train the years in the different countries and cultures. So yes, we have an apprenticeship for 4 years. I was a pastry chef and a chef. And then I graduated, and then as a chef, as we all do, want to learn. And I was very eager at this time to work in the best hotels, the best restaurants, and make a career out of it.
Mm-hmm. So now let's track this. So Paris, then Genoa, then where?
Back to Austria, then to Seattle.
To Seattle?
Yeah.
So you got an offer where in Seattle?
A Plaza Hotel. It was the Olympic Hotel at that time.
Sure.
And
what'd you do there?
I was an apprenticeship again. My English was very...
How old are you at that point?
I was at 21. Uh-huh. And
they said, stop playing with the food.
Yeah, no, please, I was not allowed to play food. I was just making mise en place.
Right.
I was trying to learn my English, and I stayed there 6 months. And then I went back to Europe, and then worked in the different hotels in Switzerland again. And in the winter season, we chefs learning on experience. It was the best what I did. And then I said, no, I don't like this to stay in Europe anymore. I wanna go on a ship. I was 23.
Wait, out of nowhere? Or had you cruised?
No, I never cruised.
So what was the attraction?
The attraction was, when you live in the mountains, as a young cook, I would say so, a young chef, and dreams of the oceans, being out there on the sea, and then apply to a few cruise lines. We all do send letters. We had no fax, we had no emails. We sent letters. And certainly, finally, I was getting a letter back. I have a job on a cruise ship.
So what was the first one?
It was Vistafjord.
It was which?
Vistafjord.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a Vistafjord. And
what year was that?
It was 82. Mm-hmm. And
what was the job?
Yeah, it was just a cook, a fish cook, a comic cook. At this point, you're just too happy to get a position on the ship.
Absolutely.
And matter of fact, since I had all my experience in France, abroad, I was immediately very lucky. I saw my potential. And I grows within 3 years. I was executive chef on board ship.
Oh, so they saw
Yeah.
that you weren't just a short order cook,
Yeah.
that you've been around.
Yeah, and I was very lucky. Then I started as a chef de partie, running a small station, and immediately after was a sous chef. And then, when we work 6 months on the ship, then we have 3 months off. I went to work to France. Again, I worked to Italy. So I was.
You went back to brick and mortar. You went back to the.
exactly, yeah. I was always very hard working, very eager to.
You never took time off.
No, well, not really, but I had to enjoy what I do, because as a chef, young chef, and then I had the idea to write my first cookbook. I started writing a cookbook.
What year was this?
I was hardly 23 years old. I started to write a cookbook. People said, "What are you doing? Writing a cookbook?" Oh, it sounded a little bit strange, but I said, "Yeah, I'm writing a cookbook." So I wrote a cookbook. I was 24 years old.
What was the topic of the first one?
It was the Culinary, a dream cruise, the Kulinarische Traumreise,
Wait, say that again?
the cruise ship cookbook.
Okay, it was a
Yeah,
cruise ship cookbook.
Yeah, and it was
At
beautiful.
a time when no one was doing that.
No, and it was beautiful, a big coffee table book, and it became a hit in Europe. And then I became the executive chef on Queen Elizabeth II, on the QE2.
Did you guys know that?
Yeah, so I had a fast track record here. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was again, my age, I was so young, so I had a brigade there with 160 people.
Now, I hope your cabins are getting bigger as this.
Oh yeah, actually, that was the nice. No, actually, that was the nice part.
That's important.
On the Wüstefjord, I had the best cabin, almost better than the captain. So it was. Whenever I went vacation, I had to fight. I was always worried. Always said to my sous chef who took over while I was on vacation, just make sure we don't give the cabin away.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so then, so what after that? What was the next job?
Yeah, actually, then Cunard was Wüstefjord was
Well,
bought.
how long were you at Culinary?
Wüstefjord was purchased by Cunard Line. Cunard purchased Vista Sagafjord,
Okay.
and also Sea Goddess at this time. So I became a chef, the corporate chef over the entire fleet with 25 years. So I was managing at that time, at this time, 9 ships. And then I revolutionized the entire British maritime, of Culinary Maritime on Queen Elizabeth II. There was this young Austrian guy who came from the Wüstefjord as executive chef. But this huge chef called Banbridge, he was a young guy, almost 70 years old, and he was saying, "What the heck are you doing here?" I said, "Well," but he had respect what I have achieved. This was my thing.
Well, you had a book, and you ran it like a tight ship,
Yeah.
pun intended.
Yeah, and he was very, very nice. He says, he did like this, "Rudi, listen." And he was a beautiful man. And I went in his kitchen. There was about 200 chefs, one Austrian, one German, and French. And I was asked by the chairman. It was Ralph Banner at that time. Ralph was a beautiful president, and he says, "Rudi, can you do it?" I said, "Well, give me the chance. I fix this." Anyway, so I managed this huge Queen Elizabeth II to transform the British kitchen to an international representable kitchen.
Right.
And I could write a book about it.
So this is the late 80s now?
Yeah. In 87, 88, when we transferred the Queen Elizabeth II with a new engine and so forth. And I saw a great opportunity. I said, okay, the ship goes to dry dock for 6 months. Bingo, I said, okay, great opportunity. Let's start from scratch. So I hired about 60 women chefs on board ship. Never done before. So I brought the first woman chefs into the kitchen, in the dining room. I went on hiring trips to entire Europe, and I booked everywhere chefs who were with me bringing the cuisine back to service. Sure, I kept the tradition of British cuisine intact. Sure, I had British chefs.
But there was that extra, like if you wanted something exotic, it was there.
Exactly, yeah.
So there was choice.
It was a choice. And we actually, I was very proud. I managed this very successfully. And we had fun. I mean, I never forget, we had so much fun in the kitchen
Well,
that we managed those from what we achieved at that time was unprecedented.
It sounds like you just worked hard. But I know you had kids, so there must have been some fun at some point. But so let's go from Cunard to where?
A chef always has fun.
Okay.
Now from Cunard. So then we were purchased. We had the Sea Goddess at this time, which was a luxury segment of the Cunard, which I was very proud. I got the first Michelin guide for ratings for this ship. I transformed there each kitchen which I managed at that time. I really was focused, had the best attention, the best characteristics of.
When they give a Michelin star, is it for a specific kitchen or was it for the whole project?
I was working very hard because we had the Queen's Grill, the Princess Grill, which I was very proud because we did something there which was never done before. We had the entire culinary maker was watching us at that time, what I was doing. So I invited the entire French culinary on board crossing. I started the first culinary transatlantic crossings, the chef summit at sea, first woman chefs in the kitchen. I changed the midnight snacks, buffet to midnight snacks. We were working very hard to be innovative over the years.
After Cunard?
Good point. No, after 11 years Cunard, I got an offer from Royal Caribbean. That was a tough one.
Now, did you have a contract that you had to break?
No, when Cunard was sold, Cunard was bought by Carnival. I had a great offer from Royal Caribbean. They said, Rudi, you have carte blanche. We're building the first largest ships in the world, the Voyager of the Glass of the Seas. And this was an undertaking. And I had carte blanche.
So you said yes, sir?
Yeah, I said yes. I take on the responsibility. I stayed there for 7 years. I launched in 7 years 9 ships.
So meanwhile, Carnival, forget about.
Yeah, sure. I didn't move on. Yeah, I moved on. They built the Queen Mary. I wished, in hindsight, I should have stayed.
You should have stayed with Carnival, but instead you decided to go with Royal.
Yeah. So, make a long story short.
Too late.
I was too late.
Keep going.
Anyway, but I was very ambitious at this time, very, very futuristic.
Right.
And they offered Rudi, we're building a whole Voyager class ships, the Voyager of the Seas. Right. 5 ships in 5 years, plus we built the Radiance class ships. And I said, that sounds interesting. And this was a major undertaking in my career, building the first ships in my...
So you got to was this the first time you actually got to choose the equipment? Or did you always get to build your kitchens?
No, it was the first ever in my time. I knew ships was built.
So this is the first time you didn't inherit a kitchen. No. You said, this is what I want.
I could decide. Cool.
What year is this now?
Now we're talking early 90s.
Okay.
With the Voyager of the Seas was launched. And I came in 1.5 years before. I'll never forget when Richard Fan said to me, Rudi, this management style, you have carte blanche, here are the restaurants, what are we doing? Mr. Jack Williams was there, the president. And I said, you must be kidding me. There was not even a menus ready for one day. There was a food concept. So I said, okay, what are we doing? Well, it was a fascinating opportunity to show my creativity, I have to admit. I was going totally, I hired the best people. I had a big following at that time already. So
wait, how many books at this point? More?
Yeah, already this I'm waiting 4 books.
4 books.
I was flying, and it was very, very interesting because how you build these huge ships, how you staff the ships. I had no clue, but it was a strong learning curve. And I was very lucky. I had a strong following of chefs who followed me. Chef, we want to be with you. And I was very lucky. I had 40 chefs, and we really did an amazing job.
So you're as good as the people around you, and you collected some good people?
Absolutely, and that was actually, but we had the first steakhouse at that time, an Italian restaurant. We had the first Asian restaurant, first tapenaki. Mm-hmm. I had really the opportunity to do something was never done before.
And then the comments came in, and this is the way it stayed.
Yeah, and then I wrote immediately every year a cookbook to make sure we out there in a public marketplace, that the travel advisors are aware what we're doing. And we watched everywhere, and we reduced. I have to say, what I did there in 7 years, today, I don't know how I did it. Did I sleep?
Yeah.
I don't know what I was smoking and drinking.
So we're at Royal Caribbean, and then what?
And then I got a phone call from from Dirk Landemann. He was the president of Holland America Line. He said, "May I speak to you?" And I said, "No, okay." He said, "We would like to have you at Holland America Line."
And what would it take?
Yeah, I said, "Okay, move to Seattle." And
Don't you have contracts each time you do this?
no, we didn't have contract this time. We had, it was
Handshakes?
no, it was not. We sign off. We give a notice for 60 days.
That's
so,
it?
Yes, that's at that time. So
You were there for a number of years. You were past 60 days.
I was seven. No, I was there 7 years, and then there was also management change, like it is in big corporations, and it was a very, very. But we worked like horses.
Right, so
Like
did you need a change? Were you now ready for a change? But you would lose your 40 great people.
No, it's interesting. So I said also this time the management, Adam Goldstein was there. There was a lot of stuff going on here, and I said, okay. I said, I don't want to work anymore. I work for myself, I said, in future. I want to be a consultant. That made a change here. When you offered to come in as a director, I said, no, I have a better idea. I can be much more valuable to you if you hire me as a consultant. And it's paid off immediately because I could do much more thing. And he saw it, and Stein saw it also, and Johan said it also. Sure.
So you started at Holland America as a consultant.
Yeah. But I was integrated in the management in one way. That was a fine part, and it was the underlying comments. I was very integrated in the management, doings, and it was on the management team to bring out new ships and improve the food product.
And then wasn't it your idea to have a culinary council?
Yeah, actually, when I joined Holland America, one of the ideas I brought to the table immediately to bring culinary to the next level by having a culinary test kitchens on board, the cooking, the art center. And I came in with a strong proposal with the culinary art centers. We need a guest chef program. This paid off immediately. You know why I did this?
Why?
For the chefs and for the guests.
Right.
The chefs were benefiting, getting new faces in the kitchen, new recipes.
You were helping their careers.
Yeah, it was very important for me, and I could not have done this when I worked there. I can go. This was the good part. In the meantime, I laid immediately a plan ahead what needs to be done in culinary and service. We built a school in Indonesia, and I give a lot of credit to the previous management, Kirk Landemann and Stein, to make sure that we had an Indonesian crew on board ship. I think that's what Holland American was all about. The Dutch relationship, the sincerity, the great service. In the food, we worked very hard to be the best in the industry, at least competitive.
That brings us up to date.
Yeah. So, and then was definitely the Culinary Council was a strong idea of mine to do something else what no cruise line has done before.
So what that did though is, it didn't diminish your star. It increased your star because you were helping others, and you created a team that has like a gestalt where it's stronger than just each one individually. It feels like.
It never was about myself. I always reach out to people how I can help them, how we can combine in that tough kitchen environment we're working in there, producing this daily food into the highest level of ingredients and skill set and so forth.
Does the council fight it all, or does everyone get along? How does the council function?
Chefs never fight. We never fight. No.
Well, you have knives. It's a scary proposition if you do.
Actually, chefs are very romantic. We all chefs are romantic. Chefs are very, very down-to-earth people. They're very protective, absolutely. If a chef cannot share recipes, forget it. If a chef cannot smile, is the wrong food.
So it's not like a magician where you don't want them to know your tricks. You guys like to share.
Yeah, it's about sharing. Life is too short not to share ideas and recipes.
We certainly do it with your dishes. We shared those.
So, so I think no, we don't fight. I've never seen this here.
Now let's talk about the
There's
seafood.
a lot of heat in the kitchen, and there's a lot of wood will fall, and then that's the way we operate.
There's pressure.
But a lot of respect, a camaraderie, and a lot of we cry together, we fight together, we work together, we sleep together. We all do this in the ship.
Let's talk about the sleeping together now.
I mean, in the bed.
Oh, okay. All right. Because the food tastes like it has love in it. All right. We're going to cut that part.
Yeah. Do you know how was Rudi Sodamin bought this restaurant here? This is the
story.
Yeah.
So this is the third one?
Yeah. This was also revolutionary that a chef on board ship, which a master chef, it was a great story. When we looked at for a space on board ship, what should we put in there? And everybody said, put in a Chinese restaurant, which I did with Tamarin, which was a beautiful restaurant, which I'm very proud of it. It became a vision of mine and paid off very well. So I wanted to have a seafood restaurant on board ship, something which not has been done before.
It seems incredible that you're at sea and this is the first time.
I think about it.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing. And there was a big discussion, I never forget. No, Rudi, a seafood restaurant. I said, why not?
It won't work.
Won't work. I said, why not? I said, listen, I have an idea. Let's try it. We have a seafood bistro. We go back to Côte d'Azur, that's where I worked, and we make it workable. And trust me, people love seafood.
It's not just seafood; it's French.
Yeah, it's French. Yeah, it was Celle de Mer, and then we came up with the Celle de Mer. We agreed, and actually became a very successful, beautiful restaurant.
So, how did you design this menu?
Yeah, when I design a menu, it's not. I always have a chefs, an alliance of chefs, the council chefs, I call it. Even internally, we are chefs, because I cannot do all my work myself. I have people who work very closely with me, and as I said, we work together, we sleep together on the ship, not together. So just to correct it, and when we lay a mood board of dishes, what people might like. Can we source it? Can we make it? Can we get ingredients and so forth? And
so it's not just a whim; it is a business side of that.
Absolutely, because we cannot just trim up something we cannot deliver. Mm-hmm. But I put the bar up here and I said, okay, let's go to Côte d'Azur. That's where we want to go here. It's seafood. It's French. It's the taste of the Celle de Mer, of the sea salt and so forth. So I come up with this menu as a team effort. And so far it has been a success. So far also we served over, I would say, 40,000 menus, with the pop-up menus, also on other ships where Rudi's Celle de Mer does not exist. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty.
Yeah, so it's not a facility, it's a spirit.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And then we had the idea to create something which never has done before in the hospitality business. Nowhere in the entire world. I created these food phases, which became the talking point at this restaurant. Mm-hmm. And every plate I made for this restaurant, designed, had been produced by Bernardo, a French company. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. And every plate has a story, and this fitted perfectly together. When the guest comes at Rudi's Celle de Mer, they looked at the place and said, wow. Immediately a conversation bit, because it's art, seafood, the chef, and so forth. The whole story is combined in a beautiful meal, in a beautiful experience on board Holland America line.
No. So it's part of the motif.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about individual dishes, because I want to show them. So we ordered the fruits de mer, and I'm telling you,
the fruit de mer.
The fruit de mer came out, and it was like a monolith. We all had to look up at it. There was so much.
Fruit de mer is the optimum in any French restaurant, with a lot of ice, with a lot of crab legs, oysters, shrimps, You name it.
Your escargot were fabulous. The crab bisque. I'm saying what I had. The menu is much. I couldn't have everything. I have to say, every single souffle you made was lighter than air. They were all helium based. The souffle au fromage, unbelievably light, and then that dessert, the Salzburger Knockel.
The chef Rudi Soufflé. Since I grew up in Austria, as you can imagine, when my mother was whipping up the egg white to meringue, added some egg yolk, a little bit sugar, and baked it in the oven, and that's Salzburger Knockel. You know?
And it came out with 3 peaks, you said.
Yeah, and you form it in 3 peaks in 3 mountains.
Because of the mountains in Austria.
Yeah. And it's a world famous dessert, and I serve this in my restaurant here, and people love it.
And the presentation on the which one was it? The presentation on the grilled seafood platter, where a hangman's noose with what's hanging. Tell us what's hanging.
You loved it?
I love the presentation.
Yeah, people.
So what's hanging
This
there?
is the most photogenic dish on board. I was very skeptical. Should I feature this dish? People loved the presentation. It was a langoustine.
Yeah.
It was a grilled
That was a
langoustine.
langoustine.
Yeah. So you have to take the langoustine and cut it on the table or bring it back in the kitchen on the
I was like, what did the langostino do wrong? I felt like he was being punished.
No, actually, it's one of the most popular dishes, and people immediately. And then what I always
Does it taste better because it's hanging?
No, I love presentation. And when I make the people smile and think about what had the chef in mind putting this fish on a hanging skewer and brings it out hanging. I can lay it also there, but I think it's
it's reminiscent of a big catch on a ship, on a fishing boat, where it's hanging.
Yeah. This also could be seen as this here, but it's the most photographed dish at Rudi's. Sodamin, no doubt about, you know.
So let's wrap up with we got over more than 95,000 travel advisors watching. Tell them why they should go on a Holland America trip and visit your restaurant.
Well, that's a very simple question. We love you. Holland America is an amazing brand. You have a choice, but trust me, my middle name is Quality. I would not be here, at Holland America if the quality would not fit to my standard. And we have an amazing crew, an amazing staff, and a beautiful history on our ships. And we work very hard, and I'm very competitive. Food at Rudi Sodamin is fantastic. The steakhouse on board ship, it's very competitive to any steakhouse. We have the best Asian restaurant, Tamarind, which also should have had my name, but I'm not Asian. But anyway, we try very hard. Sure, food is subjective, but I think we can pride us as a company with great employees, provide an honest product, and we enjoy what we do.
Well, the Holland America line is known for its food, and you are the reason.
Well, I'm one of the reasons. I work very hard, and I'm very proud to be associated with Holland America line and with our group.
Thank you for talking to us, Rudy.
And nice seeing you. You come back, okay?
Oh, I will. And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.